Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Friend or Foe Esports. Today we kick off our first day of what will be known as FoF's Captain's Draft Tournament. Day one, game one, and we're starting things off right with Team Lightbulb on the blue side and their opposers on the red side, Team Snail. I'm very excited to get into these games here tonight. As always, my name is Whirler, and casting alongside me tonight, my favorite top laner in the league. How you doing, Anti?
Hello, and welcome everyone to another round of FoF. I've missed it all, but right now we have Captain's Draft going on, so it's very interesting because the way how this worked out, right, is you have a bunch of different captains picking up players through the draft who had signed up. So because of that, you actually have a lot of players not playing their main lanes. Like, for example, Sherigan has been a longtime support player. Same with Ariri, but you definitely can't have both of them playing support on the same team.
This is true. This is a true statement. However, in our lovely Season 12 of League of Legends, at least at the beginning of which, so a lot of supports were being played up here. Very proudly, too. Wouldn't be shocked to see that come back in the meta, especially for a fun tournament like Captain's Draft. See some jam at top.
Super. All right. Well, you know what?
Throw that ball up and throw it out.
Already taking it out, and while you might see a mist ban on the side of Team Snail, that's not actually a mist ban, it is the Thresh ban. But as you can see, Tef, as they have been part of RLS for a full season, understands the power of the Volibear on blue side one. Immediately going to be picking things up, and the Trundle as an immediate response. So Trundle is a very good pickup here. Strong in the jungle against Volibear, going to be able to use that pillar to disrupt the engage without actually canceling out the Q. Just going to be able to slow Volibear, because if you cancel Volibear Q, it resets it. So you really don't want that.
That is very true. Liking what I see so far, especially with the Jhin pick, very underrated pick right now. Not seeing too much Jhin more than I should. He is a very strong champion still in the meta right now. A lot of AD carries actually feel a lot better ever since the last couple of patches, which honestly, speaking of which, here's a Kog'Maw.
Yes,
speaking
of which.
Speaking of underrated AD carries, there's definitely
I don't know
one right
about
there.
Underrated. I mean, this champion was ridiculous on the last patch, but on this patch just got nerfed. So the Lulu Cog is going to be coming out regardless of the nerfs, still going to be a strong pick. Now, for Team Snail, while the Jhin pick, unfortunately for Team Snail, they don't have Geico, so they do have the emergency sub with friend Songo, is going to get the Jhin, who, Songo is going to be comfortable playing on. But now they need to find some way how to break through the tanks. If they had the Volibear already, so with the Trundle should be able to take care of one tank. But if they pick up another tank, they're in big trouble if they don't have a tank shredder.
This is very true. They do indeed have the true counter pick for that, so they can save their final pick for something to deal with that, just to see if Team Lightbulb are going to draft a second tank. They do have some space to draft around that, so that is still very good for Team Snail. Team Snail not in the worst position ever, and they're getting some tanks off of the board right now, taking Ornn off of the table.
Yes, I mean, Ornn's a beautiful man going to be taken away from Team Lightbulb. And while, we still haven't seen Lights' picked up, and Lights a very strong player. We did not see Lights last season, but Lights was a diamond level mid laner. So it's going to be really interesting to see whether or not they save that last counter pick for top lane or for mid lane. And if you are going to do it, I think that you should be taking some kind of engaged top laner right now and save that counter pick for mid lane, so that way you can hopefully find something like a Cassiopeia angle for Street Smurf's ever favored Cassiopeia. And the Mordekaiser is going to get picked up. Incredibly strong top laner right now.
Definitely so. Very incredibly strong indeed. One of the niche picks here in the meta right now. I like seeing Mordekaiser played in these kinds of like competitive, organized, team play mode, or where it's sort of the method of Mordekaiser, at least in his rework, taking someone out of the fight for like a solid and wow, we're about to get that double. Silas being locked in for lights. I really like these drafts so far, but the Mordekaiser pick for the top lane should be able to handle this top lane pick, depending on what it's going to be. Still can be Volibear.
Yeah, it still could be Volibear. Mordekaiser versus Volibear, a pretty back and forth matchup. Not 100% certain on how that's gonna go. Malphite.
Oh my goodness.
No. Oh my good. I'm sorry, friend. Malphite is a solid pick for your team composition, but dear Lord, it is going to be utter pain during that laning phase. And Mordekaiser, very, very strong in this patch. One of the more popular top laners being picked up, but we do have lights on the signature Silas. And while Casson can lane just fine into Silas, it's a question of whether or not Street Smurf's going to be able to scale with the same kind of potential as this Lights Silas.
It looks like both teams here have a lot of back and forth matchups going on either side, and so I'm really interested to see how this is going to go, because especially with the Silas pick really threw us in for a loop, because they're going for less of a traditional front to back comp. I feel like Silas is going to offer so much more than that. Like, you just look at Kog'Maw Lulu and you already know how this is going to go. But the way that the ultimates that this Silas has access to, honestly bring so much to the table, and I'm excited to see if Team Lightbulb are going to really bring it home, or if Team Snail is going to bring it right in. Speaking of which, who are you predicting to take this match?
Honestly, it's very difficult to say, because as far as Team Snail is concerned, if they play around that top side of the map, Mordekaiser will absolutely demolish Malphite on their own, which, whoever the jungler is should know that. So Team Lightbulb's probably going to be sending Volibear up to make sure that it's not a pure 1v1. But Bo Explode, also a very strong jungler. I doubt that it's going to be anyone else in the jungle for Team Snail. Should probably be looking for the counter gank. So we're going to see a lot of action in top lane early on. But Team Lightbulb always has that, that insurance plan in the Lulu cog. So it's a question of how far can Team Snail push this lead with a substitute AD carry.
That is very true. We got friend Songo on the Jhin. I'm very excited to see it. We were talking about that before this game had started, and we are so excited to see it unfold. Game number 1 is coming our way in just a little bit. Speaking of which, we're getting into it right now. Both sides running in, and it looks like red side Team Snail are going to be headed in for a 5-man invade through mid. This can be interesting if this really explodes, as Light will catch it happening. Built Like Mewtwo has the hook ready. They're stacked into the bush, seen and fleeing.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, I was expecting a trade of flashes in the mid lane right there. A lot of teams have been doing it, where they'll take a hook champion like Nautilus, like Blitzcrank, and just trade flashes immediately at the very beginning of the game with the enemy mid laner. But instead, it's going to be sought. It's going to be sourced out. Barbiturate with the Ghost on the Kog'Maw. Interesting pickup here. No heal in that bot lane. 100% going for that late game play, and it seems like Tef and Barbiturate are very, very confident in how this lane's gonna go.
If Barbiturate gets to that point in the game where he's able to have just 4 or more items, press Ghost, and just be super mobile in a team fight, it is going to be super hard to try to stop him. However, I feel like the Ghost is a little all for naught against Nautilus, just due to the fact that none of his movement speed really matters if Built Like Mewtwo is able to get her ult on him.
Yeah, I mean, Built Like Mewtwo rocking the Glacial Augment on the Nautilus, it's something that we might not see as popular lately after the durability changes. We do see a lot more of the Aftershock, but it's still very good. Going to be able to get a trade-off early on as well.
It's going to give some more autos for friend Songo to lay into on Tef, as in the mid lane, Light's hitting level 2 first. Street Smurf going to get knocked up. Auto 1 HP ignited is going to give over first blood to Lights. Blow Explode flashing onto Lights, getting the flash out of him as well. W for the healing. This isn't going to be too good with Oriri here, but a TP is coming back from Street Smurf. He's trying to stall this out as long as he can. Blow Explode getting Oriri very low, trying to run out for his life. Kassadin is returning, and I think that's going to be the end of the fight for first blood for Lights.
Yeah, and we mentioned it earlier, Lights is a very strong mid laner. An uncharacteristic hold on the flash for Street Smurf, though. I'm pretty confident that Street Smurf could have lived there, but miscalculating the damage, not going to be able to survive that one. And this is a very rough start for the side of Team Snail.
Getting Silas off his feet already, 400 gold in the lead. That's going to be pretty good for Lights, getting the quickest he can get to his first item, put pressure around the map, really take, I feel like, all 5 of these ultimates, maybe 4 if we're, Kassadin's not so great. But having access to some great ultimates in this game, I feel like Lights can put a lot of pressure with this lead. Speaking of which, in the top lane, Bow Explode getting the pillar on Shuriken, getting it knocked back by Mordekaiser E. Shuriken forced to bust out the flash, but it's not going to be enough. Bow Explode is going to pick up the kill.
Yeah, and we see Oriri was pathing towards that top side earlier, right? That Volibear already on the top side of the map, but Bow Explode half a step faster. That's that's the power of some of those early picks in the draft, right?
We got a bloody mid lane
just
going
trading
on.
back and forth. Dear Lord.
We got one heck of a bloodbath going on down there. Friend Sango doing pretty good down here against Barbiturate, even in CS, which is honestly really good for the bot lane here. Street Smurf is going for... I don't know if Oriri was able to get spotted by that, but I guess he was not. Street Smurf taking very low. Oriri flashing on him. Street Smurf flashing out. Good W by Friend Sango. Barbiturate trying to run into this. Is not going to matter too much. 1 HP in the mid lane. Street Smurf is headed straight home, and Bow Explode for the cover. But the 2v2 in the bot lane getting pretty antsy over here. We're looking at fight after fight.
Yeah, and now this is a Kassadin in mid lane without flash, without TP, and in bot lane, Barbiturate does not have the ghost. So you see a pillar down there, Barbiturate's going to be in a lot of trouble. But, all things considered, bot lane's going fairly solidly for the side of Team Lightbulb here, because all you need the cog to do is to continually farm up and get that gold.
Very much indeed. First backs going around already. Let's see what Barbiturate has to pick up with 32 CS. It should be, he's going to go for the boots route first. No Noon Quiver just yet. But still a decent pickup so far. Gives him some movement speed to work with when it comes to Nautilus hooks and whatnot. Meanwhile, in the top lane, we have a little bit of a CS deficit so far, building up 15 for P. Sweezy so far up in the top lane. The parts of the map, we got Oriri with a good farm lead over Bow Explode. Bow Explode, though, putting a lot of pressure, especially on the top lane. So I feel like that would even out in itself. Regardless of that, gold should be pretty even on the other 3 sides of the map.
Yeah, I mean, the first kill onto Lights, definitely nothing to scoff at, but Street Smurf is just going to continually farm up, continually get stronger. P. Sweezy has so much control in this top side, even if Shuriken was to roam down. It'd be very difficult to contest this Mordekaiser, despite not having the level 6 ultimate yet. One thing that I will say is that Barbiturate having 2 daggers right now is very interesting, because it could mean that it is going into the Noon Quiver and the tier 2 boots, or it could mean that Barbiturate is aiming for an early, not rapid fire cannon, but Rage Blade rush, which would be a very interesting decision here. And once again,
is about to... Yeah, okay, never mind. I saw Bow Explode looking at Oriri. Sorry, Anti. Thought it was going to be a little jungle skirmish.
All good. I was going to say, once again, Oriri looking topside, but Bow Explode half a step faster. And, that's one of the things about Oriri, right? We've seen the jungle before. Oriri have success in the jungle before, but Bow Explode lives here, knows it. Back and forth, and built like Mewtwo, and not going to be able to land the hook, not going to be able to get too much for her troubles here, but either way.
Absolutely. In mid lane, Light's getting ganked a little bit. He is going to take the Subjugate away from Trundle, which is actually going to be very interesting if Lights can pull off this 1v2. He is just above half is looking to actually engage on it. Gonna subjugate Street Smurf. Street Smurf gonna have to ult out. Bo Explode engaging back on him, getting knocked out by Lights. Lights gonna get queued by Bo. They're both taking really low. Street Smurf ulting back in, and they're gonna take the 1-for-1. Street Smurf gonna get the kill on Lights, but Lights is gonna take Bo Explode, and that is a beautiful 1v2 from Lights. Not too shabby, if I do say so myself.
Yeah, not too shabby of a 1v2, but getting a kill onto the Kassadin is so much more high value than taking the Trundle off the map right now. Ori is in a good position to get the dragon here for it, though. And they're going to take one play that wasn't too particularly bad for Team Snail and make it significantly worse for them.
And with that happening in the mid lane, Riri is going to take the opportunity to get onto the dragon. Bo Explode did go down there. They are going to get a free Hex Dragon. Bo Explode not able to get there in time to really contest it. Is going to take a ward for Troubles. Walk up with the bot lane. Nothing really going to happen after that. But meanwhile in this mid lane, Street Smurf still no flash. He could have gotten ganked right afterwards, but does have the ulti for some security. Isn't going to happen regardless. Meanwhile, in this top lane, we have now doubled our CS lead.
Yeah, I mean, we've said it before, right? The Mordekaiser into Malphite is going to be absolute pain as far as laning phase is concerned. So right now, I think Sherigan's just kind of begging for either some kind of jungle mid-roam or for the tower to go down so that way he can be free. He can just freeze. He can look for farm and not have to play this matchup longer than it has to be. But either way, Lights
P Sweezy with Bo Explode off in the wings is coming for the gank on Lights. Lights is going to take the one-time flash, is going to get on to Lights. P Sweezy is not letting Lights get out of this without a fight. Ariri taken super low, but jumping it right back on the Street Smurf. Ariri is going to clutch that, take it right back. Bo Explode's going to pick up Lights. Feel like Mewtwo's coming in now, and Ariri is going to go down. Double kill for Bo Explode. Very well played by Team Snail to go ahead and even that one up and take an extra kill for the Troubles. Rift Herald is alive. Could be the objective to go for. Nautilus going to get on the Tef. Rooted. Going to get the slow. Should be able to walk out just fine. Fransango off to the side for support. Barbiturates not going to get the kill he wanted.
Yeah, and like I had mentioned earlier, it is in fact going to be the early Rage Blade rush coming out from Barbiturate here, which is a very interesting choice from Kog'Maw. I don't think that it's necessarily wrong per se, but it could mean that it is leading into the eventual tank Cog build, which could be incredibly difficult for the side of Team Snail to deal with.
They don't have a lot of DPS, I'll be very honest with you. Really, the only thing that should be able to kill him there is Kassadin and maybe Jhin, but I feel like Jhin would die to Kog'Maw before even getting a single bit of that. Meanwhile, Sherigan getting a nice kill onto P Sweezy as Team Lightbulb pulls up on Team Snail in their own jungle, saying, "This is ours, what are you doing here?" Sherigan picking up some gold for his troubles, shutting down the top laner that did him in so.
Yeah, definitely got to be feeling a bit cathartic there, but anyway, Fransango and Mewtwo right now just chilling out under tower, able to pick up as much farm as possible. Fransango still has the CS lead. Barbiturate is able to get the prio, but you know, if you're falling behind in CS and you don't have any extra kills, it's a little bit of a question of who's really winning here.
And speaking of who's really winning here, that fight in the mid lane was could have gone either way. That was very fun to watch. Lights and Street Smurf really putting on a show for us tonight. Fransango, you are absolutely right. Keeping up in CS really well, being the substitute for Team Snail. I'm very proud of Sango, keeping it up. P Sweezy putting down the pressure on Sherigan. Dragon coming up at $150. We got some downtime here. And while we have this downtime, let's touch on a few things. One, Trundle has picked up a ton of gold in this early game. How should he use it?
Yeah, it's a big question. I mean, Sherigan seems to be itemizing for not only the Sunfire Aegis, if I'm going to assume that's what that's going to be. It could also be a Frostfire, but I'm thinking it's going to be Frostfire and oh goodness, I somehow keep forgetting the item names. It builds out a tier. It's the new tank item.
Fimbulwinter.
Fimbulwinter, yes. That could definitely add to a lot of tankiness, but either way,
I think that like Mewtwo started a fight that they might have not wanted, but little do they know, Lightbulb are going to get Street Smurf in their corner. Ultimate from Nautilus is going to take down Barbiturate. Street Smurf coming in to pick that one up. Friend Stongo going to pick up a Riri Tef flashing out, but is it going to be enough as the zoning W will put him in range for Cassidon to pick that one up, and that's going to be a double kill for the Cassie boy and a very nice counter gank from Team Snail.
Yeah, beautiful counter gank. And, you know, Ariri was in such a good position there to set up the gank, but it's in the name. Friend Songo always comes with friends. You got to be ready for that counter gank. And neither Cassidon nor Trundle had shown up on the map, so you definitely have to be ready for that.
Uh-oh, Light's going to get flash hooked on. The slow from Glacial Augment is going to keep Lights there for a while for it to flash out. Street Smurf with the ulti is going to get out of turret range in time, but the Ignite will take him out. Shut down 1-for-1. Good on Lights to go ahead and return that kill. Almost a very good attempt coming from Built Like Mewtwo. Beautiful hook. Beautiful Glacial Augment. They do have a Dragon on the table still, and it looks like they actually opted not to go for it. Just the turret was enough for them, giving Team Lightbulb the priority over it, and that's going to be the second Dragon of the game already going over to Team Snail or Team Lightbulb.
Yeah, and right now Team Snail is looking a lot for the early gold leads, right? They've given over the dragon stacking ability to Team Lightbulb here, but either way, P-Sweezy just gonna look to get as much damage off on Sherrigan as possible.
Some bullying going on here in this top lane. P-Sweezy just giving Sherrigan a run for his money. Ultimate coming out on a P-Sweezy from Sherrigan to hopefully catch him under the turret range. Didn't quite get that. Is going to take the recall. TP not quite up just yet, so that's going to hurt for Sherrigan a little bit. Poor buddy. As bot lane, we do have Bo Explode coming in for the gank with Built Like Mewtwo off to the side. Tef and Barbiturate going to respect it. Built Like Mewtwo still fishing for it. Is not going to find anything. Does get the ward in the lane bush, and they are going to move on with their lives. Meanwhile, Friend Songo has gone for the rotate to mid lane. They're going to look to get that mid tower down next. P-Sweezy has top lane covered. Speaking of covered, he's a little bit surrounded right now. Lights, Ariri, and Sherrigan coming in. Doesn't have the ulti. Sherrigan has no way to stop it, but Lights coming in at the very last second with the chains is going to stop the TP and pick up the kill on P-Sweezy. Street Smurf almost picking up the free Tef on the way, but Barbiturate caught out, way out of position, is going to get picked up from that one. Friend Songo is going to have to back off the curtain call for now, run away. The return Nautilus ultimate from the Silence is going to catch him, but it's not going to result in anything but Bo Explode going down. And that is a 3-for-2 so far. 3-for-1, actually. Very good for
this
Lightbulb.
This entire game for Snail has been looking relatively good as far as the gold is concerned, but so many. Oh, hold on.
And some more. Friend Songo trying to save the turret, but Ariri had different plans. Ulti's right on top of him. Street Smurf not letting him go down without a fight is going to be enough to pick up the 1-for-1 there, evening out again, 2-for-4.
Wow, you know, the 1-for-1 going to be able to do quite a bit as far as the gold is concerned, but you know, the gold has been in the side of Team Snail for so long, but you overstep once and you could find yourself in a very rough position. Only 3k gold separates these teams right now, and when you're the team that scales significantly harder, you have to be careful about that, right? And you know, it might be looking good, but at the end of the day, that is a curtain call underneath the enemy tier 1 tower that's still there.
There are indeed, and with that being said though, Rift Herald going down for Team Snail. Poor Sherrigan got bullied out of the pit again. This feels so bad for him, but he should be very close to his first item. As soon as he get that, he should be starting to... Yep, there it is. Frostfire Gauntlet locked and loaded for Sherrigan. Should be a little stronger enough to provide value in these fights. Malphite still going to provide everything he usually would. Friend Songo pushed a little too far. Lights capitalizing on that. Good slow from the Jhin trap is going to buy him some distance, but for how long? Because Lights has the EW to pick him up. On a rampage, he is.
Yeah, and Songo understanding that it was the end of his life, they're just going to be picking up as much farm as possible. Either way, Street Smurf gonna be getting away from the Kog'Maw in the mid lane. We do have the Rage Blade fully picked up here,
Mhm.
and only time will tell what this Rage Blade turns into. But with the Rage Blade start, there's multiple options that you could go for. You could go into the Kraken Slayer. You could go into the
Shield
Hurricane,
low.
into Titanic Hydra. You could
Uh-huh.
find yourself with a Shield Bow. You could eventually end up finding yourself with a Frostfire Gauntlet. Really depends on what build it is that Barbiturates is planning on going for. We have seen Barbiturates go for a lot of the older builds on some champions like Twitch in the past. So it's
Very
a real
much.
big question as to whether or not Barbiturates is going for some new tech or some stuff that
Oh
we've
my.
seen tried and true before.
Street Smart forced to blow his flash. Tef coming around the corner, giving him a little bit of a scare. Dragon coming up in about 30 seconds, and it looks as if Team Snail are getting the priority on it. For a game like this, where there is so much beef, so many tanks, this is one scary soul. We have a mountain soul this game going around.
Oh,
Whichever of
Lord.
these teams pick it up will be the scariest thing.
Yeah, and Sheridan gonna be picking up the tower on the top side of the map, gonna be showing up to this dragon a little bit late. Regardless of whether or not you have TP, you do want to make sure that you're there in time to contest it at the very beginning, and Sheridan gonna be contested himself.
Very much so. Sheridan able to get the top tower. Street Smurf TPing up a little on the far side, but Sheridan not backing off at all, not backing down. He is going to go down with a killing spree for Street Smurf and an uncontested dragon for Team Snail. I say that's pretty worth over the tower.
Yeah, I mean, taking a kill trade and another sack on the Dark Seal makes it so incredibly strong for the side of Team Snail. And we've been talking about Cog having the ability to be that late game insurance, but there's a reason why level 16 is a win condition for Cassidon. This is also another champ that you do not want to be fighting in the late game.
Absolutely. Cassidon, it doesn't matter how tanky Barbiturate would get towards the end of the game. If Street Smurf is able to get on him, it will be a disaster for Barbiturate to handle. And it looks like he is going to be going for the Runan's Hurricane next item. So going to give him more team fight ability, more wave clear, more things hit per auto attack. That honestly scales real well with Rage Blade, but is not looking like it's going to be the tankier route. Could go for a shield bow to hopefully give him that shield, which honestly I feel like would be the best option this game he has.
I mean, the tankier route is still going to be available, though, because you could opt for a Titanic Hydra immediately afterwards into the eventual Frostfire. So that's still on the table. Barbiturate still has quite a bit of versatility with this build path. So either way, P-Sweezy just going to continually pick up as many minions as possible on the bot side of this map here. The sole holder of any grievous wounds in this game, actually.
Right. So far, P-Sweezy would honestly be a lot of value, I would agree. When you have Tef, Barbiturate, and Lights, and Riri to an extent, healing up all over the map. You got Bow Explode, you got Friend Songo with some healing. A good fight in the bot lane so far, though. The double Mordekaiser ult is going to come out. It looks like Lights is coming out on top of this. It wasn't even close. We got two fed mid laners in this game, and honestly, those are two scary mid laners to be fed.
Yeah, incredibly terrifying to be fed. But on the side of Street Smurf, has the fully completed Death Cap as the second item of choice here. So you got Death Cap and Everfrost versus Everfrost and Zonya's Hourglass. I think one of these is a little bit spookier than the other.
Absolutely, and Street Smurf is going to take Tef out real quick. And that is exactly what they need for Sheridan flashing out of the hook, almost getting a second kill. Team Snail are really showing their worth, and Baron is up. Nashor is alive. They have started it. This could be the start of something very, scary for Team Lightbulb if Snail are able to pick this one up. But it looks like they're grouping around. They're going to try to get to there as fast as they possibly can. P. Sweezy's going to make it 5, but Lights isn't there yet. Cherrigan with the unstoppable force is going to try to stop. The Riri flashing on Fransongo going to go down. Cherrigan so far traded for 2. Both tanks are gone. Barbiturate is alone trying to get out for his life. Lights onto the corner is not able to get access to the fight. Barbiturate's going to have to flash out. They could very much start up this Baron once again, but without Fransongo, a lot of their damage is indeed gone. They're going to try to get priority here on this Dragon, though. Lights, Barbiturate, and Tef getting some wards out. Not going to do too much more after that, but what a fight from Team Snail.
Yeah, this an interesting fight from Team Lightbulb, going to be immediately diving into the backline, leaving your cog alone to free fire, which would work had you had the other piece of your 2-man Exodia. The cog Lulu is incredibly potent, but if you don't have Lulu available, then cog's damage output is significantly lowered, and you're not going to be able to output enough damage to really justify diving straight into the backline like that. Sure, you take away Jin, but when the Kassadin is allowed to just free hit whatever he wants, and the Mordekaiser as well, it's a question of how much damage are you really expecting this cog to put out?
And that's really good for Lights. 20 seconds on this Dragon. We got 2 Nautilus ults to worry about in this game. Lights picking up a great ultimate for this fight that's going to transpire here in the next few seconds as both teams have grouped up for the next Mountain Dragon that's come in. This is such a vital Dragon, and a good hook from Built Like Mewtwo getting a Riri out. Built Like Mewtwo's going to take a bunch of damage for it, but the fight has indeed started. Riri taken very low. Bow Explode off the fight, getting Cherrigan down. But a good knockup from Cherrigan, and the Riri is going to turn this around. It's going to be so many people going down. Barbiturate's going to bite the dust, but all of Team Snail are going to follow. P. Sweezy's the only one left alive. It's 2 for 4 so far. P. Sweezy not in a good spot right now, but let's break this fight down for me, Anti.
All right, so all of this starts up with Built Like Mewtwo looking for a hook, right? So Bow Explode gets a beautiful pillar straight into the middle of the enemy team, right around here, right as they're contesting vision. Built Like Mewtwo sees the in, gets the hook onto a Riri, gonna get stunned up, flashes on out. And right now, Street Smurf is going to get ulted by Cherrigan, not able to contribute to the fight, but P. Sweezy flashing onto Barbiturate means that there's so much damage gone from the cog. But in the back line is Lights, was able to take down so much. Street Smurf and Lights trading, but right now, P. Sweezy with cog stats should be able to keep these 3 from taking Dragon.
Which is honestly very impressive looking at how hard Lightbulb was able to get through that fight. P. Sweezy, they are starting the Dragon. It's going to be a very slow take with the support and the tank jungler going at it. P. Sweezy's not going to let that happen too easily. Tef going to pick up a plant isn't going to result in too much, and P. Sweezy should be able to do this. Does reset the Dragon, is going to reset. We're going to see another chance at Dragon being taken so far in this game. What a absolutely banger of a fight.
Yeah, and right now it seems that Barbiturate is either going to be picking up the Wit's End or is going to be picking up the QSS, which honestly Quicksilver Sash wouldn't be a bad idea at all, because you want to be right next to your Lulu and you cannot handle the 1v1 into the Mordekaiser right now, especially with how strong Mordekaiser is. And by picking up that kill on the cog, that Nashor's Tooth is going to get closer and closer. I'm a little bit surprised to not see the Rylai's being picked up from P. Sweezy, but Nashor's Tooth will do just fine as far as damage output's concerned, just if you're looking to take someone on in a side lane in terms of team fighting. Rylai's has so much utility that I'd like to see it picked up sooner rather than later.
Having the 20% slow on a giant AoE ability would give so much value sticking to the enemy. Regardless, though, if the CC that Team Snail have transpires correctly, honestly, P. Squeezy should be able to get that damage out very beautifully. They are in desperate need for more damage, so it's not a terrible pickup, especially the more Mountain Dragons they pick up. And after Team Lightbulb gave them the priority on it and they took it right away, 2 Mountain Dragons so far. The tankier that Team Snail gets, honestly, the more reason they have to just sacrifice a little bit of this utility for the damage and be able to get away with it.
Yeah, and this is the same kind of strategy that we've seen from, stronger, more experienced teams like, T1, a team that is a little bit stronger and more experienced than some of the captain's draft teams we might be seeing today.
Only some.
Yeah, just a few. I don't know. Team Snail looking to be up there, but with the first bit of the game, you aim for topside dominance, you go for the heralds, you get as much gold across the entire team as possible, and it doesn't matter what the first two dragons you give up is until you see the soul. Once you see the soul, then if it's something like Cloud Drag and the enemy team doesn't synergize with it, you just go ahead and give it up to just continually push the gold lead available. Or if it's something strong like the Mountain Soul, which would have been absolutely devastating to give up, that's when you just look to use your gold lead in order to make the use of the win condition.
Bill, like Mewtwo Spider-Manning out, almost making it. She's barely alive, almost got caught, but Lights did take her ultimate, which is absolutely going to be devastating if we have another one of those fights. Nothing should transpire here, though, within the next few minutes, so that should time out unless Lights wants to use it in a 1v1. With that being said, Dragon should be up in about 3 minutes, with Baron still on the map, 27 minutes with a 3,000 still gold lead. Gold lead is the same as it's always been throughout the game, so that's still good. Still an advantage for Team Snail nonetheless, but it's not too far for Lights or for Lightbulb to make a comeback. And speaking of Lights, Light's going to get rooted, trying to trade the Everfrost back. Street Smurf going to ulti out of that, and there is not going to be a 1v1 happening there.
Yeah, definitely not, especially when you're one level away from level 16. So Street Smurf doesn't want to take any risky options right now, and Lights does not want to fight Street Smurf on the off chance that Street Smurf does end up eking out the kill and getting level 16 win condition immediately off of that.
Very much so. It is kind of... What'd you spot?
Sorry about that. It's just... I see the Hearthbound Axe on the side of Barbiturate. Barbiturate had more than 850 gold. Hearthbound Axe is 1,100 gold, if I remember correctly, and did not opt for the QSS. So right now, P-Sweezy, with Flash available, is going to be able to take Cog out of the fight every single time.
Honestly, I don't know how to feel about it, but at the same time... Wits End this game. Honestly,
Wits End is definitely a necessity for this game, but at the same time, the reason why you need to pay the Mordekaiser tax is because the reason why you've been not able to get anything out of the last few fights is because P-Sweezy is able to just flash on top of the Cog, get the ulti off, and has a Gnasher's Tooth now. You're not going to be able to take out the Mordekaiser in a 1v1.
This is true. I like the Wits End. It's one of those items where it's perfect for a champ like Kog'Maw, but I feel like after the constant nerfs from the item, it's lost a little bit of value. And speaking of which, we have a little bit of a scuffle coming here in this bot lane. Both the top laners want... Oh! Q Flash coming out from P-Sweezy. Gonna pick up that 1v1 very beautifully. That's honestly... very nice for them, as it appears Dragon coming up. Third Mountain Drag of the game. They are down a player. Tef might go down as well. Gonna pop the Wild Growth already. Light in the middle of 3 is gonna go down as well. Not gonna be able to pop the ulti just yet. O'Leary is gonna be the third to go down. Barbituate's alone. That's gonna be a third Mountain Dragon for them right in their pockets. And within 15 minutes, we have 3 dragons on Team Snail, and it looks like it's going to turn into a Baron real soon. What a fight from Team Snail to take that.
Yeah, and Barbituate was free hitting for so long and still not able to output the damage that's needed of the Kog'Maw this late into the game. And while P-Sweezy wasn't able to flash ult the Kog'Maw, as I've been detailing earlier, that's the level 16 Kassadin coming on in with that death cap, able to absolutely demolish this Cog. And both teams are in Team Lightbulb is in such an awful position right now as Team Snail has the Baron, has the level 16 win condition, and their Kog'Maw still isn't online.
It's looking a little scary right now for Team Lightbulb. They don't have a lot of entrances to really win this game anymore like they used to. It's really just relying on the Kog'Maw now, and he is at 3 items. He is getting there, and he is an absolutely powerhouse of a champion right now. Is he going to be able to break through the 3 Mountain Dragon, 2 pseudo tanks, 1 big tank comp? Not too sure about that right now at this moment, especially here in the fact that they have their damage now. All of their damage is online. Street Smurf has been a menace this game. Despite giving over first blood, has found a way to give himself a 10 Dark Seal stack, 11-4 game with almost a flame horizon on lights.
Yeah, I mean, right now, you know, the Wit's End is able to give Barbiturate a little bit of tankiness, but that's still flat damage in comparison to a... Oh, hold on.
And speaking of flat damage, Bill like Mewtwo getting out for dear life, almost getting out of Riri, begging for that kill, is going to even out the HP value. Curtain Call coming out. This is a 3 versus 4, by the way. Sherrigan taking the front line with Barbiturate hitting up Bow Explode. Bow Explode taking real low is not going to go down. Oriri is going to get threatened. Squeezy with a back door. Trick 2G over here is going to really start this off. Barbiturate's going down in the fight. This is game. That has to be game. Team Snail has ripped Lightbulb apart in that fight. Got super greedy. They didn't even recall just yet, except minus Bow Explode, and turned that fight around. Picked up the kills. Killed Barbiturate. Brought it down mid lane. P-Sweezy stalling Lights. Lights couldn't be in the fight. Is going to be taken down with ease. Ooh, but gets the flash on a Bill like Mewtwo for troubles. Is going to get down, but that is indeed game number 1 of the night. Team Snail are going to take it home.
Yeah, and Team Snail taking it home. Team Lightbulb took too long to wait for their AD carry to come online, and unfortunately for them, you know, Team Snail didn't need their been on it in with that emergency substitute here as powerful in the later stages of that game.
Oh my goodness, what an introduction to the Captain's Draft, everybody. Welcome, and I hope you enjoyed it, because that was one heck of a game, ladies and gentlemen. Team Snail has done it with the sub. Shout out friend Sango, really brought the gin home. Thought I was watching Double Lift, I'm going to be honest with you. With that, what an amazing start to game number 1 of the night. Game number 2 going to be just as hype. Street Smurf picking it up with the Kassadin, gonna have that star proudly next to his name. What an amazing game coming out. And if you look at the damage charts real quick, let's take a look at these damage charts, because I want to see just how much Street Smurf really did in this game. Would be excited to see that. Let's take a quick gander at the graph.
Oh, baby, I love Riot Games.
Okay, still broken, but you guys can't see it because it's just so off-center on the screen, but Kassadin has topped the damage charts by a very large margin. And I just want to... Yeah?
Barbiturate and Light's damage combined still does not match Street Smurf's damage.
Which is absolutely incredible, if you ask me. What is happening so far? I absolutely loved seeing that. What are your final comments on this right now?
Honestly, that was game 1 of the night. Banger of a game. Only time will tell if we will see more. And we are coming back with an interview with the winners, I believe, in just a bit. So don't go anywhere.
Oh, awesome. Yep.
Hello, everyone. All right, cool. I had to double check, make sure I didn't int the microphone this time. So, right on. Welcome. Chris Edgeworth here for our first interview of this Captain's Draft tournament, joined by our first victor. Here we have Street Smurf out of the mid lane. How you feeling?
I am feeling pretty good, actually.
Well, it was a little touch and go there for a second. We were seeing some of that classic friend or foe magic, where people magically just aren't able to make it for showtime, and so we did have the friend Songo switch up that looked like by the end of the game he did the old classic Meteos where you just learn the champion first time on stage. You know, no big deal, and doing pretty good on it. So you folks drafted an interesting matchup. Mord, Trundle, Cass into Silas for you, and then Jin and Nautilus. I don't think you picked the Cass after it, but you know what I mean. So yeah, just talk to me a little bit about your thoughts, how you felt the draft went. You know, not even accounting for the fact that you're gonna have to sub in the first time Jin.
Well, I think it went pretty good, considering how it went in the end. But I think that at some point they into the draft, they picked the Malphite into the Mordekaiser, I think, so that's like not a good thing. So I would say in the end it was really good for us because we had strengths like all over the game phase. But if they didn't pick Malphite, I think we would have lost the draft actually.
Interesting. Yeah, that for sure. That was a Shargan comfort pick, because they said it in the draft, which you obviously wouldn't have heard. But while they were casting it, they're like, this ain't right. this shouldn't be here. So hold on, let's see. Why is this background not looping? Background. There we go. Sorry about that, folks. So anyway, then we get into the game though. So you yourself found to be up against the Silas in your matchup with the Cassidon. We are now living in the new post patch era where champion matchups have been shooken up with the durability patch. How was your matchup here against Silas? How did you feel you played out your game?
So I played the matchup this morning in solo queue, so I knew what I was supposed to do. But I got solo killed in the early game, since like uh, I I didn't think it could solo kill me, but I misplayed. But in the end, I think I am supposed to freeze in the early game to refrain the enemy from ganking me, and that's honestly that's basically I think that how the matchup should go for Kassadin, and I think I was able to scale because of this.
Yeah, I can tell that Lights also wasn't super happy that Bo once he recognized that Lights was going to play very aggressive in this matchup, that Bo was actually there and didn't just leave his mid laner out to die like you would in solo. I mean, most people, I'm just saying, you know, in most people's experience when they get the solo queue casted on their team and they see him going down early is just like, well, you know, that's what you get when you pick that in my game, buddy. You know, enjoy your game of League of Legends out there. So, you know, it's good. We got to see the classic Bow explode coming through. And yeah, so you folks did end up getting this first big win here for your matchup today. I do want to ask you, though, personally, is there anyone, any team, or any specific player that you're looking forward to having the possibility to match up against?
I would like to play against the team with Zenzen, because we played in Flex against them, and he picked Singed, and we lost to them.
Oh, wait, was it the new mid singed like garbage tech?
I don't know if it's the last patch, but I think so, yeah.
Yeah, apparently like mid singed is like 54%, like 2% win rate in Korea, and it's just like Predator, and you just like turn your brain off and just go to other people's lanes. Was it that one, or was he playing it out of top?
No, he was playing it in the mid lane.
Yeah, okay, so he's a sociopath. Got it. All right, well, that'll be interesting. Hopefully, you get the opportunity to right that galactic wrong. Folks, don't go try that in your solo queue game near you. It is not fun for the whole family. So that's gonna be it for this interview, our first interview of the day. We do have 3 more games coming up. So folks, don't go away. We'll be back quite soon with our second matchup today. All right.
I will get there.